the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Now with today's main headlines. Non-Violence Organization releases message on Intel Day for the elimination of racial discrimination. Holy Karbala hosts second Intel conference to combat extremism and terrorism. At least 576,000 people in Gaza facing serious threat of impending famine compounded by lack of medical services. Security forces combating terrorists in Pakistan as country's newly elected parliament set to open. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, this is Amir Maash and you're watching Shia Waves live from London, only on Imam Hussein TV 3. In a message on the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination received by Shia Waves Agency, the organization Free Muslims stated that the international community will celebrate on March 1st the complete elimination of discrimination in a spiritual and material direction aimed at confronting the phenomenon of discrimination with its various motives and causes. It added that despite the numerous human experiences that humanity has suffered throughout history, some official and unofficial parties still descend to inhumane and racist discrimination, noting that such behavior follows inhumane paths condemned by all divine laws, international laws, and sound social norms. Free Muslim called for combating negative discriminatory tendencies in the Middle East countries, especially those rooted in religious, sectarian or racial motives, and establishing faith in the noble prophetic tradition. There is no superiority for an Arab over a non-Arab, nor for a non-Arab over an Arab, neither is the white superior over the black, nor is the black superior over the white, except by piety. The second international conference to combat extremism and terrorism kicked off today in Karbala as an attempt to remind the world of the serious consequences of this phenomenon. The conference comes at a time when the world is facing threats from terrorist groups and their criminal activities, emphasizing the need to curb their future dangers. The conference, organized by the Medina Center for Intellectual and Cultural Security, aims at reducing the impact of terrorist operations and decreasing the activities of armed groups in Iraq and around the world. The participants called on communities and governments in Iraq and globally to take responsibility for combating extremism and intellectual deviation. United Nations officials have accused Israel of systematically blocking aid from reaching desperate Palestinians in Gaza, warning that a quarter of the enclave's population is on the verge of famine. Meanwhile, the last functioning hospital in northern Gaza faces closure amid fuel shortages. More details in the following report.
Ramesh Rajasingham, the Deputy Chief of the UN Humanitarian Agency OCHA, stated, "Here we are at the end of February with at least 576,000 people in Gaza, 1/4 of the population one step away from famine. The conflict, now in its 5th month, has resulted in significant casualties with at least 29,878 Palestinians killed, most of them women and children." Jens Lerck, an OCHA spokesman, highlighted the challenges faced by aid convoys, stating that aid convoys have come under fire and are systematically denied access to people in need. The World Food Programme, WFP, expressed readiness to expand operations once a ceasefire is in place. However, Carl Saku, the WFP's Deputy Executive Director, warned that the risk of famine is being fueled by the inability to bring critical food supplies into Gaza in sufficient quantities. Aid deliveries to northern Gaza have been suspended due to attacks and looting by desperate residents. The situation in Gaza remains critical, with Palestinians facing increasing dangers as they search for food amidst the ongoing conflict and restrictions imposed by Israeli authorities. International intervention is essential to address the humanitarian crisis and ensure the delivery of vital aid to the vulnerable population in the region. In the meantime, the only functioning hospital in the northern Gaza Strip is at risk of halting operations amid a fuel shortage, according to its director on Wednesday. Several patients, including 4 children, died at Kamal Adwan hospital due to lack of food, medicine, fuel, Hussam Abu Safia confirmed. Thousands will be deprived of medical service if the hospital is stopped, he warned. Israel has launched a deadly offensive on the Gaza Strip following a Hamas attack on October the 7th. The ensuing Israeli bombardment has killed 29,954 and injured over 70,000 with mass destruction and shortages of necessities. The Israeli war has pushed 85% of Gaza's population into internal displacement amid acute shortages of food, clean water and medicine, while 60% of the enclave's infrastructure has been damaged or destroyed according to the UN. Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice. An interim ruling in January ordered Tel Aviv to stop genocidal acts and take measures to guarantee that humanitarian assistance is provided to civilians in Gaza. Reporting Ayub Nouinou Shia Waves.
Let's take a look back at the main headlines. Non-violence organization releases message on International Day for the elimination of racial discrimination. Holy Karbala hosts second international conference to combat extremism and terrorism. At least 576,000 people in Gaza are facing serious threat of impending famine compounded by lack of medical services. Also tonight, Grand Ayatollah Shirazi says it is not permissible to lay hands on words of Holy Quran or divine gracious names without ablution. An intense exchange of fire between Pakistan's security forces and terrorists resulted in the death of 6 militants and injury of 1 soldier during an intelligence-based operation in North Waziristan district. Meanwhile, Pakistan's President Alvi decided to summon the inaugural session of the National Assembly on Thursday after signing a summary following a late-night development. The decision came after earlier reluctance due to incomplete representation in the House. The summoning was approved with reservations in hopes of resolving issues related to reserved seats for women and religious minorities. Despite reservations, the President approved of the session following disappointment over irregularities in the electoral process and government formation. The PTI, whose members have joined a new party to secure more seats, supported the decision, while the Election Commission is yet to allocate reserved seats based on the party's winning seats. And now we continue with some short news. Around 30,000 people had been ordered to evacuate parts of Australia's southeastern Victoria state before midday Wednesday due to a massive bushfire. Hundreds of firefighters have been battling a blaze that started last Thursday near the city of Ballarat, 95 kilometres west of Melbourne, and is not yet under control. Hot, dry and windy conditions have led to the sweeping fire that has already destroyed 6 homes, killed livestock and burnt more than 20,000 hectares, sources have confirmed. At least 31 people were killed and 10 others injured when a driver lost control of a passenger bus in southern Mali on Tuesday. The bus carrying Malians and nationals from the West African sub-region was en route to Burkina Faso when it overturned, said a statement posted on Mali's Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure's Facebook page. Accidents involving public transport buses are a frequent occurrence in Mali. On February 19th, at least 15 people died and more than 46 were injured in a traffic accident between a public transport bus and a lorry in central Mali. 8 migrants drowned off Morocco's Mediterranean coasts while attempting to cross to Spain in a flimsy boat. The victims were among a group of unidentified illegal migrants who boarded the boat on Tuesday evening in an attempt to cross the Strait of Gibraltar from the town of Beni Chikir. Before bad weather conditions capsized the vessel, the local authorities confirmed. 9 migrants were rescued and provided with medical care in a hospital as operations were underway to search for the missing persons. Around 3,500 tons of soybean wheat mixture is stranded at the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. hindering the distribution of crucial food supplies. The delay poses a significant risk for 378,000 pregnant women who are part of the malnutrition treatment program, WFP officials warned. The international organization forecasts that 15.8 million individuals in Afghanistan will face severe food insecurity between November 2023 and March 2024, with 3.6 million in dire emergencies. Additionally, 4 million Afghans, including 3.2 million children under 5 years old, are grappling with acute malnutrition, the WFP statement adds. The daily scholarly meeting of Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Husseini Shirazi was held on Wednesday, the 17th of Sha'ban. In this meeting, the Grand Marja discussed the ruling regarding the touching and laying hands on the words of Adhan and Aqama. Let's watch the statements together.
اون اسمایی که مسلم نام خدای عز و جل ولله الاسماء الحسنى الله الرحمن الرحیم اونایی که هست یا سند صحیح داشته باشه یا لااقل مقبول باشه مثل دعای جوشن ظاهرا این دعا مقبوله و قبول بودن در حکم سند صحیحه مثل روایات مقبوله‌ای که فقها مشهور قبول کردن عرض کرد نه غیر اسماء الله الحسنى غیر نامهای مبارک خدای عز و جل نام معصومین علیهم السلام آیا حرامه به وضو دست بزنه؟ جماعتی گفتن حرامه اما عرض بنده اینه که یک دلیل واضحی نداره لذا احتیاط استحبابی عرض کردن بله هم احتیاط استحبابی اونم نه وجوبی
We have reached the end of today's news. Let's take a look at the main headlines for this evening. Non-Violence Organization releases message on International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. Holy Karbala hosts second international conference to combat extremism and terrorism. At least 576,000 people in Gaza are facing serious threat of impending famine compounded by lack of medical services. Security forces combating terrorists in Pakistan as country's newly elected parliament set to open. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi says, it is not permissible to lay hands on words of Holy Quran or divine gracious names without ablution. You can view the latest news on our website, or you can send news of your city or country to be published on our news agency. Contact us on the numbers at the bottom of your screen. Thank you all for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum.
But I remember the day that I got out of it, he looked at me and I was like, uh-oh. He looked at me, getting strong, you're getting strong. He was really happy about it. I'm so glad that I'm not a pharmacist. Apologies to any pharmacy graduates. But I'm really happy that I'm not a pharmacist. If I don't, well, at that time, if I hadn't shaved for like 4 months,